I'm just going to say Felix because in the parallel universe it happens somewhere. So maybe in this one it does.
Imagine.
Right, intro take 45. So guys, we finally got there. We've been thinking about it for a long time, boys, haven't we? Doing this TTDCast. And we've got the technology here. We're set up. And let's go for it. What's the topic today, Joe?
Well, I figured there's no better place to start than the Paris 2024 Olympics. Okay, first things first then. The arena. Shout out to the guys who did the colorways for that because the table tennis arena looks amazing.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's nice.
Like, we think the ping pod looks nice.
It's unbelievable.
No, this is the tables as well. The way they put the tables and stuff. It's just,
Look at every single social media page of the player that's there. They've all posted at least 10 posts on it.
Yeah. We'd be the same. We'd be milking the hell out of it.
There's also the same post that every table tennis pro
I know
has
what
done,
you're going to say here.
which is a selfie with Rafa Nadal and Alcaraz.
That's sick.
Those poor guys, those two, Alcaraz and Nadal, must be like, these table tennis players.
I bet every Olympian, though, they're all like, there's Nadal, isn't it? It's ridiculous.
We're about to get hit with some massive singles, massive mixed doubles and massive teams.
I mean, it's good timing. The draw came out last night.
That's world-class
It's worked out perfectly for us.
Shout out as well, whoever does WTT's social media, because that might be the most confusing draw layout I've ever seen.
My brain almost exploded. I was like, has anyone seen this draw yet, guys? Can you work out which position someone's in? And my head was gone.
Yeah. Once you win a game, like, who have you got to play in the quarterfinals? Like, shout out. I think it was treble 7 table tennis, whoever runs that.
Yeah.
I think they've used the draw that then everyone else has reposted.
Now we do kind of have the draw like sort of under wraps. There's going to be some good talking points, I think.
What was the first thing you saw in the draw, Tom, that you was like, whoa, okay.
Good question. Yeah, probably I was kind of looking for the home favourites, obviously, like Felix and Alexei first off. See where they were in the draw, see like what's the chances that they can have a home player going deep into the tournament, because that's obviously interesting. It makes it like Hugo did in Brazil. I remember thinking back, in Rio, it was crazy, like the crowd and the atmosphere in that room. And I remember like Hugo was he was still a big player, but he was more up and coming then. And I just remember like it was an intense atmosphere, like they were going mad. So I think it could be cool, like if Felix and Alexei can go quite far, because it will obviously be massive for the home crowd.
That's it. And it's obviously in Paris. And the French love table tennis, and it's always insane. Even the Pro A, Pro B matches. I mean, we played in Hennebont recently. That video is coming out next week. And there was 1,000 spectators there watching Hennebont and us lot.
So
imagine Paris.
Idiots.
Yeah. So imagine the Olympics. It's going to be epic.
That's the thing as well. Like, that pressure of having a home Olympics, a home crowd, a packed crowd cheering you on, that's either going to add like 5% onto your game. You're going to be super dialed in. You're going to be showing your chest out. Exactly. Or it could do the opposite and compound you, right, and make it even more nervous. It'll be interesting. They're both very young, right?
See, I think because they're young, they're quite fearless, and both of the way they play, I feel like obviously it could when it comes down to it, could put that extra pressure, like you said. But I feel like it's going to add that extra rather than take away. Just because I think they're young, they're fearless. The way they play, it's going to be super aggressive. Yeah, for sure. That's the way I see it.
Remind me, Joe, which half has Felix got? Who's Felix come up against? Wang Chuqin or Fan Zhendong?
Fan Zhendong.
Yes.
Yeah, in the semis, if he does get there. And I think he's got Dimitri on the way as well, which is going to be a crazy match, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is that Felix and Dimitri?
Yes, correct.
In the quarters, if it gets there.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Let me have a look.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be an interesting match. I'm pretty sure Felix won the last matchup, though.
Yeah. But then Dimitri, under high-level stress, is really good.
And he's historically done well at the Olympics. He's won like some really close games. I think it was the last Olympics where he won that crazy match with Lin Wenru to get the bronze medal.
Yeah, insane. And then and that match against Ma Long.
Yeah, he was very close.
Yeah, and the semi, crazy.
You know, if Dimitri, he must sometimes look back at that match and think, wow, I was a point or two away from getting to the final and beating Ma Long.
That's the thing as well, like, because we'll play like local league, right? And you'll be like, why did I do that serve at 10-all? What?
Yeah.
He must have it on like such a crazy scale of like, I was literally moments away from the Olympic gold medal match. And it got taken. Yeah. And that's like the fine margins. And that's probably like context wise is like, it kind of feels nailed on of like Wang Chuqin, Fan Zhendong being in there for that gold medal match. And then it feels like there's a group of probably 16 or 17 other players who, if they just up it 2 or 3%, genuinely have a chance at getting that bronze medal.
I think there's a lot of players who would fancy it and think like, on my day, I can probably get I can get a medal, or I can get into that position where I'm in the semi-final. But realistically, out of that group, there's probably 3 or 4 who could really do it under pressure, I think. Like you said, Dimitri are unbelievable under pressure. But there's a few players who could for sure beat Dimitri, but it's the situation as well, isn't it, in that type of event?
Yeah, and I think that's what makes the Olympics so special as well. Only 2 players from each country qualify. Like take China, there's only 2 Chinese players in it. So it makes everyone feel like there's a chance I can win. You know, World Championships, you've got 5 Chinese players or whatever, and it's a massive draw. This is last 64 players, all just going at it. And you know what's mad? Like up to the Olympics, the last month or 2, all players have been training like dogs, right? Like Marcus Madrid has been, where was he, in France somewhere? And he's just training for a whole month every single day with good players around him. Do you know what I mean? They're like all trying to peak for the event. And so, you know, a lot of those guys could cause crazy upsets. And it puts pressure on the top players like Otrov, like the Pitchfords, Fan Shandongs early on.
Absolutely. I think probably we've seen a lot of withdrawals as well from the WTT tournaments leading up to this, where like players have slight niggles or slight injuries. So you should hopefully see them in full fitness as well, having been well rested. They've gone through this training camp. Yeah, absolutely. Let me just walk you back to Felix then. So Felix's first match, he has a winner of a prelim match. So again, if
probably comfortable realistically,
out of that, most likely plays Anton Schauberg.
And that's tough.
If it was in the Bundesliga, Schauberg.
Schauberg's winning.
But again, you say that like that. Like, you know, Schauberg's the sort of player, he could beat these top guys. Like, he has that game. He's aggressive, he takes the ball early, he's got good serve, a really like strong forehand, you know. Look,
this is Felix's first Olympics. We know there's pressure. Look at Fan Shandong when he played Ma Long. He lost 4-0 in the final. And you could see it was a different environment for Fan Shandong. He's played every single competition under the sun except the final of the Olympic Games up against the GOAT Ma Long, and he just collapsed almost, right? It wasn't even much going on. It was just Ma Long just cruised through it. And Felix is under a different environment. And like you said earlier, he's young. Hopefully he can just fly through that. And because I'm sure that obviously the Paris fans want to see Felix go away. I mean, if anyone's going to win this Olympics, if it was Felix in Paris, it could blow the sport up. It could just change the game.
By the way, I wouldn't rule out Alexei. Beast. He can definitely do the same crazy results as Felix, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Alexei arguably is more complete as a physical skill set.
Yeah.
More complete, arguably, possibly Felix stronger mentally and able to control emotions maybe a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, those two, I wouldn't want to play them in a packed arena when they're really flying as well. And momentum's so key for them because, like, we all know they rush their service game, right? It's like serve point, they go and grab a ball, serve point, it's really quick. So that momentum, once it starts going, that's going to be really tough to try and stop.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Let me walk you back then. So Felix, Anton Schauberg. Say Felix gets through that, he is going to face, most likely, Dima. There's a question mark around Marcus Madrid and whether he could do something magical there.
I'm telling you, I think a lot of the guys, even in the last 64 in that category, who are not likely to get through because they've been really crushing the training, all they need to do is just have a blinder, right? You know, chairman does it in the local league sometimes, pulls off big wins.
Good point. Yeah, we were discussing earlier, though, to be fair, a lot of the WTT now, because it's best of 5, there's more potential for upset on the shorter format. So potentially less upsets when it's best of 7. Obviously, I think particularly against the Chinese, because if you're 2-0 up against a Chinese player or one of the top guys, you feel like, okay, I can steal one more set here and get it. But 2-0 in the best of 7, it's not much of an advantage against the top players because generally they're level over 7 sets rather. They're going to be the better player.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's almost like playing extra time as well on football against a top football team, right? To try and be 2-0 up and it's a 90-minute match as opposed to like a double leg.
2 legs. Exactly. Percentage-wise, the best team's going to win majority of the time in the longer format.
Also, in that best of 7 format, the better player, the higher-ranked player, can change a tactic and has got more time to utilize a new tactic to the game strategy
and build into it,
and then go, this is working now. I'm going to play on this one. And I've heard that before when Primorac played Paul Drinkle. When Paul was young, when he was 15, he was 3-0 up on Primorac, and at the time it was a massive moment. Like, wow. This guy, Paul Drinkle, was 15 years old. He's 3-0 on Primorac. And the interview after, Primorac was like, wow, the interview was like, you seem so calm. He's like, look, it's best of 7. When I was 3-0 down, I changed my tactic. And then I could feel then I was so confident my new tactic worked. And then I won 4-3. You know, it's interesting, isn't it?
I'd love to watch it back and see if Primorac had the swagger that he showed us. Yeah.
He definitely still had the aura back then, I think.
Absolutely.
Primorac is the top number 1 table tennis swagger man, isn't he?
Mays has got to be up there.
Oh, yeah, true.
Mays.
He's He is like the David Beckham of table tennis. Like
Which one?
Mays.
Oh,
Just swag personified.
He just walks along. You're like, oh, there's Mace.
Yeah, he is one cool.
He's got that. He's definitely got that aura about him.
Yeah. You know, he just has the like. He's a man on a mission.
He's not shy, is he?
In Felix's side of the draw, then, there is a certain Slovenian with a world-class backhand. European champion, right? Darko Jorgic.
That's tough. That's a tough draw. Tough round.
Is rough. Because, again, I think he is one of those dark horses that if he just levels it up.
Darko horses.
I like it.
Well, he's a European champion. Did he win the Europeans? I think he won the top.
No, he won
10.
Won a European event.
He won the European Championships?
Ooh, that's a good
I don't think he
question.
did. I think he won the European top 10 or top 12, whatever they call it. The one in Montreux in Switzerland.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think he won European Championships, did he, Darko? He's won 2 or 3 times in a row. He's won the European top 12, I believe.
This is where we need that dude in like Joe Rogan. Where,
But I don't.
Jamie, pull it up, bro.
But if Jamie pulled it up, I'm 99% sure that Darko hasn't won the European champs.
Okay, there's that.
This guy, you are right.
Yeah.
For the last 3 years,
Yeah,
he's won
he's-
the European top 16.
That's-
Top
Oh, it's top
16.
16, yeah,
I said top
yeah,
12.
yeah.
It wasn't quite ringing right in my head,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I was on the right lines.
Am I right? He jumped on the table on the winning celebration.
Yeah. And
Excellent.
didn't he do the Jude Bellingham as well, like arms out?
Could well have done.
Yes, he did.
That's impressive to win the top 16 3 times in a row. Yeah.
That's interesting. isn't it?
So yeah,
Interestingly, second round again. If Darko wins, he has Isaac Kwek, which is not an easy matchup.
No.
He potentially is going to play Pitchford if Pitchford gets through Vicky Wu, right? From Fiji. So again, Pitchford, Darko, that could be fun. Battle of the backhands.
Yeah, that's tough.
Pitch, we've got to be a bit British bias, haven't we? He's our boy. He opened this place.
He did.
Yes,
He
yes.
opened the ping pod. Let's go, Pitchford.
So,
Come on, Pitch.
We're all cheering on Pitch. I mean, yeah, Pitch versus Darko would be just
Insane.
Yeah, phenomenal.
It'll be a backhand off.
Interestingly, I in a bit of research for this, I watched the last time they played, right?
Oh yeah, I was about to bring this up, and we probably maybe if Liam's watching, you probably shouldn't watch this before he does potentially play him.
Because Pitch, we love you, but Pitch basically played like us. So Darko serves, and Pitch just time after time dumps it in the net or bangs it long, or like Darko spins out, and like the way he's like remonstrating, he's like looking at it, and he's looking round. You're like, oh, I've been there.
Yeah.
Pitch, I've been there when nothing's clicking. Yeah.
It's like a rainy night on a Tuesday in Fayland on a local league match. You just can't get a ball on to save your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
so, at least for Pitch, though, you're going into it, right? He's coming off, like, recently being injured. He got injured at WTT Manchester, and he's been rehabbing since then. He's coming into this. He almost has the banana skin match, probably, in Vicky Wu, right? If you're judging by rankings, he should get through that fairly comfortably.
I mean, I don't think there'll be much of a challenge there, just in terms of like high-level match experience for someone
Skill set.
for someone like that. I think it's going to be very tough. It should be comfortable for Pitchford. It's just whether that type of match is actually going to get him firing on all cylinders before the potentially tougher games. Sometimes it's tough if you play someone. Obviously, no disrespect to Vicky Wu, he's on a much lower level than someone like Pitchford and doesn't have that, like I said, international match experience. And you play someone like that, it's actually kind of hard to get in a rhythm because you're not playing the type of points and the intensity that you would against these other top players.
I got another quick Drinkle shout-out story.
Drinkle's getting it. Is he sponsoring this podcast or something?
yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
No, but I remember was at Swedish Open and he was the in the ranking position just to qualify into the main draw, so he didn't have the group stage, and he was really gutted. He was like, "Oh damn it! Like I'm in the main draw." He would rather go through the groups and get the reps.
I'll play the qualification rounds. There you go.
Get the practice in, because he said otherwise you go straight into the main draw, and it's really tough because these other guys are coming through, they're warmed up, and it's kind of
used to the environment as well, right?
If you have a tough match early on, you get through it.
Yeah.
There's actually good.
If you have a tough match early on and losing, then you don't feel so clever. But like you say, whether Pitchford can sort of turn it around from that last time they played. Like you said, I think he's had a couple of injuries actually. He had the one from Manchester, and then I believe he had like a shoulder or an arm injury as well. So yeah, hopefully he's like fully fit, because obviously will be the disappointing thing for him if he's going in feeling like he's sort of not able to really give his all in terms of like fitness. But hopefully he'll be all right.
Also in that side of the draw then is number 5 seed Ling Yunju,
That's a rough draw.
who lost in the bronze medal match in Tokyo, right?
Dima.
Yeah. He is dangerous. He's definitely one of these people that are up there with a shout at, even I would
Winning
argue
the whole thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Agreed. Yeah.
He's so nonchalant and like laid back but aggressive at the same time. So that style of play is quite consistent, I feel. Like he's very consistent. So yeah, and someone's having a slight off game. You know, Wang Chuqin loses the first set. I'm not sure which side of draw Lim is on with. Does he play Fan Zhendong?
He's on Fan Zhendong's side, yeah.
Fan Zhendong loses the first set. Lin's causing problems. It's difficult.
He can for sure beat them. I would say the only question mark around him is like I feel like I haven't seen him much recently in that many events. He hasn't sort of been prominent in these events. So whether he's done enough like during the year to be at his like absolute top, I mean, I'm sure he feels like he's put in the training and matches, but I haven't seen him like going deep into these WTT events and really competing with them. So we'll see.
So then we go down into the bottom half of the draw. So Fan Zhendong's side. So first up then, Harimoto. Is he about to hit that, like, because obviously he flew onto the scene, was flying.
He did a Mika Richards. He burst onto the scene.
And like was buzzing, winning events at like 13, right? And then he starts to, I guess you become an adult, right? Which is difficult. He's filled out physically, which then changes your game anyway. Probably then got pressure from sponsors and possibly where like Felix is about to hit.
I was going to say, it's quite a similar trajectory, isn't it?
It's expectation as well. When you're 13, 14 and you're suddenly beating these top guys, you're like, wow, this is great. But then you get to a point where you're older and actually people expect that from you. And that's a totally different kind of pressure where you're expecting to compete with the top players. You know? Not just turn up and, I'll have a go here.
Yeah, no, there's a lot that goes into it. I've seen it with football, like I said, with Mika Richards and stuff like that. He talks about it a lot whereby he had all this money thrown at him, all these sponsors, and he's got to then still try and maintain his high-level practice, his football, and maybe Harimoto, who knows what had happened to him throughout. When he's young, he's just training. As he becomes an adult, he's got to probably sort out a house. There's so much to being an adult, right? It just throws you.
He's got to do his washing, he's got to cook his dinners.
He's got to do his washing up, bless him. And we've all been there at 8 p.m. at night, there's loads of washing up. Oh, God.
And this is part of it, right? He's probably got a sports psychologist, which he wouldn't have had at that age. He's now analysing all of this stuff that he's got to try and compete with. And then he will have been studied 100% by that Chinese team as he started to be. That makes then the playing even harder. I wonder if he's obviously massive peak, come through a bit of a trough. I wonder if he's going to start to level out.
I think he's slowly been building back again.
Still extremely dangerous in that type of environment as well.
If he hits, a lot of it is obviously on the day, and this is what the top players are good at doing, is peaking at the right time. And if he does peak, he could definitely win.
And also, Harimoto, I feel like, because he's a bit chilled on the, what's the word? He's not talked about that much at the minute. It's Felix. It's
under the radar.
Guys, under the radar. That could actually be quite good for him.
Where do we stand then? He's got the nickname Screaming Moto. Personally, I don't mind it. I want as much. I want
passion.
I want different characters in table tennis. I want someone like a Trolls who's doing this stupid stuff.
I like it, yeah. Can I just say my biggest bugbear is, and it happens a lot, I don't want to call out the Chinese players, but it happens a lot with Chinese players. You see them win a massive event and they're just like, I'm like, what's going on here, guys? Give it some beans. Do a Jangjika. Smash the barriers down. Have a celebration. Like, they're just like, I've won the WTT Smash, like the biggest event of the calendar. It's like, come on.
That is a great point, because we were watching Dan Chu beat, I think it was Fan Zhendong, massive game, and we're like upstairs screaming, and it goes through him in the interview afterwards, and they're like, "So you've beaten it, you've done it," and he was like, "Yeah, it's all right." I'm like, what? I would be like top off. Rubbers would be off. I'd be flinging out. I'd snap my bat. I'd be Conor McGregor in all around that hall.
100%. Yeah. I get there's different personalities in the sport as well. Like, some people are a lot more like Lin Wenru's, a lot more laid back, and probably Dang Chu as well. But when you're winning those massive events, I can't understand how there's not like a massive show of passion. Obviously, the Chinese are very used to winning these big events, but yeah, like Joe said, I love it when there's passion. I don't mind Harimoto. I get how maybe the older generation or people who are not like watching that high level table tennis all the time can be off put by the noise and stuff. But I agree with Joe. Personally, I love it.
One of my best celebrations recently was when Francisca beat Fan Zhendong. Was it Ma Long or Fan Zhendong? It's amazing that he
did both, didn't he? He done both. Saudi Smash.
Did that his backhand down the line. It was almost like the Eric Cantona, just like the look around.
It was glorious.
Chilling. But it was like, it said a lot. It said so much. It's like relief in his head. Relief. Like the practice he's done. He's like, wow, I've just took out to go. It was against Marlon, I think, that backhand down the line.
By the way, he's not even at the Olympics.
Well, that is...
No, he's not.
That is a good point. So, Germany could only pick 3 right for the team.
And obviously 2 for singles.
Dan Chu and Dima at the time seemed to be the obvious choice based on rankings. Then there seemed to be a bit of a grey area between Franziska and Timo.
Yeah.
Personally, I am a nostalgia man. I love the fact that Timo's getting this final send-off in the team event. It feels incredibly harsh on Franziska. That could be a real decision that kind of haunts you, right? That like weighs on your mind. My guy goes into Saudi Smash and just rips it up. Like you said, just almost like performance of a lifetime.
Yeah.
And all of his interviews since then have been like super respectful as well. I mean, it is like the German culture, right? Of like respect and respect the management. He's been really good, but that feels like he would have been one of those players based on this form that you would say he's that bronze medal, possibly a gold.
Yeah, for sure. He's one of the only players who has actually beaten Ma Long and Fan Jindong, right?
It's
so
insane.
from a German team Germany point of view, you would think you want to have someone like that in the team, right?
Yeah,
I know it's Timo Boll, right? And I almost feel crazy saying this, but from my point of view, I think I would have taken Franziska. I don't think
from a results basis.
From a results point of view in recent times, and obviously Timo is not getting younger, obviously. He's still world class. He could still pull it out on the day, but I think on a percentage basis, I would have probably picked Franziska. That's just me.
Also, the other thing you have to look at is the next Olympics.
Exactly.
Timo's retiring. It will be Franziska. So if he gets the experience of playing this one, it might help him in the next one. I mean, it must be tough in the German camp to select who it's going to be. I mean, it must be a very challenging process.
Yeah. Basically, Dan doesn't want that job.
Jeez.
Dan would actually hang on. Dan would definitely choose Timo. He's the biggest Timo fan going.
I'm a right-handed Timo, aren't I?
Yeah, right-handed Timo.
I'm like Timo's young brother. Timo. Love Timo, man. What a guy, though.
Yeah, he's great.
I mean,
Sorry, Joe. There's like a couple of people in table tennis. There's like Waltner, Ma Long, and Timo. The three of them carry like
quite iconic.
Yeah, iconic. They amazes there with it. That's sort of some persona about it. Where Waltner walks into a room and literally the whole room is different. Everyone is having a different conversation. Everyone's looking at him like just poking over. There's Waltner. The same as Timo. There's something about him. It's like when and he's like Tom Cruise walks into a room, right? The whole room is going to change, and that's what they are in table tennis.
You've said some stories before about how famous Waldner is in China.
It's insane.
He opens like shopping malls.
No. There was one point, right, where when he won the Olympics, where he was the most famous non-Chinese person in the world in China. So the Chinese people outside of China, Waltner was the most famous.
That's crazy.
Extremely famous. There's actually a couple of videos. Obviously, back then, there wasn't loads of cameras like there are today, right? Or social media. But if there was social media back then, it would have been very interesting. Because I've seen a video where Waltner's having to like run down a street with two security guys. And it's literally thousands of people just chasing him. And he's running down the street. They go to this like flat thing and go up like this building. You ever seen that video before?
No, that sounds
someone
crazy.
It's like old school footage things.
Filmed on a potato.
Yeah. It's insane. And you're like, whoa. And I think it's kind of like table tennis is increasing in China right now. Like Ma Long and those guys, they are like absolute top tier celebrities. And like Wang Chuqin, was it you telling me the other day, Joe? He's got on there's a new app in China now, right? It's like, I don't know, it's like a Twitter or whatever. And Wang Chuqin joined it within 12 hours. He was like the fastest growing person.
Yeah, we were
on the
talking
app.
about that. Yeah,
which is pretty nuts, right?
That is mad. When just go back to Waldner, because I think you guys have a bit of a story, didn't you? When you were filming one of the masterclasses with him.
Fantastic
experience. And there was a quote that he came up with. Please don't say the full quote because we don't want to. But there was a quote that he came up with. I think when he like missed a few backhands or whatever. What did he say?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he was talking about. I think you're talking about when we'd sort of finished filming. So what happened is a bit of a behind the scenes. So basically, what happened? We'd filmed the whole day of Waldner. It is quite intense doing these long filming sessions and stuff. And then we sort of got to the end of it, and we've realised, oh no, we actually need a few more shots of it. We want some Waldner doing some shots on video, some forehands, backhands. So we're like, oh Janova, could you please just come back to the camera for just 2 minutes? We'll grab you. And he's just sat down, and you know what it's like at the end of a long day, and you've sat down, you're all aching and you're stiff, and you're thinking, oh. And we've made him get back up and do some forehand
and take his trousers off.
Take his tracksuit bottoms off. Yeah. So he's had to get back up and do top spins, and then he's like, oh guys, I'm so stiff. I'm so stiff. So even Waldner is struggling with that.
He's feeling stiff, yeah. Like Joe, you play a local league match tomorrow night, you're feeling a bit stiff, long day at work, right? And Waldner's played this backhand, and like, oh, I'm so stiff. And we're like, oh my God, even Waldner could be stiff.
Yeah. It makes sense.
I love the accent as well.
The guy with the most feeling in the world.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, he's so stiff.
Yeah. Brilliant.
What hope of the rest of us?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Waldner's stiff.
But you know what they say, like, it's just human. Like, don't meet your idols, right? And you go there and you're like, well, Waldner is actually a human being like me.
Yeah.
Back to then, Haramoto's first match. Martin Allegro. Hasn't the Frog played him before?
Yeah, many years ago, many moons ago.
Did Tom tell you beforehand, like, hey, just mention that I beat one of the guys in the Olympic challenge?
I actually didn't. I did mention that. I did mention that I played him, yeah. So, yeah, but I mean, he was probably, I'm pretty sure he's a good few years younger than me.
Was he 11 years old?
He's probably 11, yeah. 11,
and you game loved
12. Yeah. No, I won juice in the fifth.
30.
Yeah. No, I don't know how old he was, but yeah, he was very young, and I played him in Belgian League, but yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a good battle.
It's interesting about it. One thing that I always find is, like Liam Pitchford, we used to play him a lot when we were in Junior British League, and he was obviously a bit younger than us. And I remember I played him a couple of times. He beat me both times. But it wasn't like he was world class at that age. I think he was like 12 or 13, right?
Yeah.
But it shows that it's possible. If you're young and you want to get to the top, like Liam is a top Olympian player, like a world class player. And it's like, you do the right training and stuff, you can get there. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know what happened to us then.
he Liam got to Germany early on, didn't he? He was training with Rusu. When we spoke to Liam, like when he went to Oxenhausen, every day he's got Rusu Ming. Rusu Ming just won the blimmin' Olympics.
Yeah, what an idol to have in the training.
Yeah, and he's like, the forehands were just tanking. That's probably why Liam just blocks so well. Having Rusu Ming just slinging balls at him.
Yeah.
Do you reckon Rusu Ming has the best footwork we've ever seen in table tennis?
Yes.
Yeah. In any sport, maybe, like in that sort of movement. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. He's able to carry his like atoms like that, like a freaking robot. He's just so fast.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
He's ridiculous. Some of his highlights, well, especially from Athens, right, of just him pivoting around the corner.
Yeah.
Boom. And then they just block it. I think there's a Voldner one where he just blocks it cross court and he just snaps
across.
Bang.
Yeah, his legs like,
He's like a greyhound.
Yeah. Who else on the stage has got crazy footwork?
Oh, actually, sorry. I'm gonna come over because talking about Ru Sing Ming. So obviously, part of the video series, we went to New York City to film the 1K challenge in Bryant Park. And obviously, lots of the public come up and talk to you, and you play table tennis, yeah. And one of the guys that we played, and he was an older guy, and he was like, by the way, guys, there was someone who was quite good at table tennis here like last week, and we were like, was there? Like, who was it?
And like, you always like always brush it off like, I'm sure he was good.
Yeah, exactly. Like, maybe, yeah. And he was like, he won a gold medal, I think. And we were like, wait, are you talking about Ru Sing Ming? And we showed him a picture, and he was like, that's the guy. We're like, can you imagine? We're doing our 1K challenge, and Ru Sing Ming walks up.
Yeah, that'd be $1,000 down the drain.
Oh god! Imagine a week before we did the shoot on that day instead of the following week, and literally Ru Sing Ming rocks up. That would have been a good video. Brilliantly brilliant. Like, it would have just been so hilarious at the same time. But yeah, Ru Sing Ming was there a week before.
Do you reckon you could get 5 if it was reversed? Could you get 5 points off Ru Sing Ming?
In the park, I reckon we'd have a good chance.
I think if he's just rocked up and he's probably in his suit having a wonderful time in New York, giving it the big one.
He's had New York slice.
Yeah, he's rocked up. He's probably just had a New York cheesecake, and there's us in our clothing all ready to go. And then he's, we're giving him a dodgy bat, and he's got to try and get to 5 points. I think we'd take him.
Yeah. Good point.
It's not easy outdoors. We've got good experience outdoors now.
He's going to do his big Ru Sing Ming forehand pivot, and the wind's just taking it into his deep forehand side.
He's in the bushes playing it. Just out of the way. I'm going to bring us back to the draw. Okay,
let's go.
So on Harimoto's side as well, there is a certain Iranian who is the Pocket Rockets' favourite player.
Ooh, he's great.
Noshad. So why Noshad has some of the craziest highlights because he swaps hands
to smash normally, right?
Yeah.
He basically plays backhand 3/4 or 7/8 of the table.
Yeah.
Occasionally gets forced into doing a forehand, and if the ball does go high, he's just like switches and smashes with his right hand. It's fantastic.
Is it? I've heard that it's his hand, like he's got pain there or something. Has anyone ever heard that?
I've heard this. Yeah, that it was like there was some kind of mobility issue.
Right. Okay.
To swap.
So he plays backhand the whole time, and then if he can cover backhand on the wide forehand, and then he would do the forehand here.
We'll have to put an Instagram.
He normally doesn't even have to switch like that. Normally he's so quick, he goes here and he can come back. He covers so much with the backhand.
He might actually have the best backhand in the world right now.
It's unbelievable. In terms of covering the table, he does,
It's ridiculous.
Also in that side of the draw, Anders Lind versus Marcus Freitas. That is a worldy game.
That is.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I reckon point 2, Marcus Freitas is going to complain about Anders Lind's serve.
He's
going to say, I'm not having that.
Talking about serves though, like players are like trying to get to the borderline of trying to be legal. Do you know, like what's the word? It's like sorry.
They're not trying to be legal. They're doing the opposite.
No, sorry. What I mean is like they are
taking it to the limit
and taking it right to the limit.
But isn't that what you do in every sport?
Yeah, Messi practiced diving, didn't he?
It's exactly the same.
That's what I heard. Like they all do it. Barcelona.
So in boxing,
Lovely Messi.
So it's exactly the same as in like boxing and MMA, where like you are in a weight category. You don't weigh that.
Yeah.
What you do is you strip all the water, you weight cut the night before, you weigh in at that weight.
Yeah.
Weigh-in's done, you then go and fill back up with water. So by the time you get in the ring or the cage, you don't actually weigh that, but it's like illegal cheating. If you don't do it, everyone else does. So I kind of, if I'm a pro, there is a massive disadvantage if you serve blatantly legal.
Yeah.
So you almost have to do the kind of dark side. And like you say, push the limits. I don't think it's fair for a umpire who's sat at a completely different angle. They can't see whether it's hidden or not. You would suspect it is. I don't see any way of an umpire being able to call that. It feels like if you're to either let them hide it again and go back to it, just let all hell break loose, or have some kind of automated system that you could probably only do for big tournaments, right? Because of the technology, but have cameras pointed that if a ball goes out of sight of that camera, it's going to ping, a light goes on by the net, foul serve, do it again. And you get two. You get two per set, and if you do a third one, point gone.
Bit like tennis where you get like the second serve.
Yeah,
or you could do it like sprinting. You can have one false start. If you do another false start, that's it. That's your lot. You're out. That's kick you out of the event.
It's the only way I can see it working because an umpire can't see it. An umpire sat where you are can't see.
Well, especially, but imagine imagine you're going to serve now and you're left-handed, and I'm sat here as an umpire. I'm literally looking at your back. I can't see where you're throwing the ball up and where you're contacting it.
Exactly.
It's also quite subjective as well, and it's a tricky situation for umpires because one umpire might say it's legal, one might not, and then it's not consistent, is it? And that's the difficult part. I remember Thomas Weichert, he was saying I think it was him who put the proposal in, not 100% saying it's him, but I'm pretty sure it was, saying to do backhand serves only and trying to get everyone to vote on it. Like, imagine that, just backhand serves only.
They'd find a way, though.
Ovtcharov would be pretty up there, wouldn't he?
He'd be world class in Quadriruna.
You know who's got world class? Darko Jorgic has got that backhand serve. He takes it right from the forehand.
Darko as well.
Ripped.
But if it was just a backhand serve only, it is clear to everyone, isn't it? To be honest, I don't think it should be put in because it's like these serves are creative. It looks different. It's nice.
I like it. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
When we went to Hennebon,
and
I'd had a few beers and I'd got a bit courageous and I challenged the Dane to a match. And it took me about 4 or 5 serves to realize that actually I just couldn't see the point of contact because he's learned to like throw it up and it goes right down the side of his body and you don't see the ball until it's literally hit and bouncing on your side. And it's like, no wonder you were like ranked number 1 in Denmark, bro.
Cheating Dane.
Are you calling Dane serves illegal right now?
Absolutely.
Oh,
you know what?
He's going to catch you next time.
I'm going to attach to this an Instagram video of me calling him out for it.
Dane's going to be on the next podcast trying to defend his serves.
And you know what was the worst bit? He was like, fine, I won't do them. And literally served the most Billy basic, like donk, and then just bombed the next ball past him.
Like that made all the difference. Thanks, Dane. Yeah.
Exactly.
I was actually at the Olympic women's singles final in 2012. Do you remember when the umpire was calling up Ding Ning?
Yeah.
Poor lady. Remember?
That was horrendous.
Ding Ning was crying. It was just horrendous.
It was off her
Tomahawk stuff. She tried,
special.
to be honest, she did come a lot of different serves and it's still getting called up. It was really brutal.
Yeah, it was horrible.
And that's the problem with it. I mean, Ding Ning's trained her whole life for Olympics, London, everything, and then she gets called up in the, throughout the whole thing.
That one again feels like that's something that you should mention pre-match. Consistency. You shouldn't then do that at the biggest moment of their career.
If Ding was called up throughout the whole tournament and everyone's talking about it, maybe it's a thing. But there needs to be something there because that through her getting a gold. I mean, she still might have lost it, but at the same time, she definitely lost it in that situation. She couldn't play.
Yeah.
Head was gone.
Let me bring you back to the draw then. So, we have a Greek dentist, Gionis, the chopper. 6th time I think he's playing in the Olympics, which is just madness. That's going to be great to see him in there.
Great style, great rallies. He drops off, he chops the ball in half, and he's extremely consistent.
Shout out, though. He's playing in the first round. Canadian, Edward Lee, Pan Am,
He's your
men's
buddy.
singles champion. So I do a bit of work in Montreal, and I'm like, I want to go and have a knock whilst I'm over there. Take my bat, turn up to a local club, right? And there's a coach doing multi-ball. And he's like, do you want to do multi-ball? I'm like, yeah, no problem. So doing multi-ball. And doing the backhand. And he's like, you play backhand like a European. That's why it doesn't work. I'm like, all right. And then I was like, so who do you normally coach? Like, is it the kids? Because there was lots of different ages. And he was like, I coach Edward and Kenny Lee. And I was like, okay, are they in the hall? He was like, no, Edward's just come back from winning the Pan Ams. I was like, oh.
That's awesome. I love you've knocked on a random door when you've been out there. I could play some tables and it's hoping for the best. And you just got like a world-class facility.
Yeah.
Edward Lee there just chilling.
Just getting grilled.
Have you met him there when you've been there? You have, haven't you?
No, not yet. It hasn't quite lined up, but it will do in the future.
Yeah.
TTD.
You'll be chasing him down.
Down then in the bottom of the draw, Fan Zhendong, but it looks like he probably has a fairly straightforward route until he meets Harimoto, likely to be in the quarterfinals, right? And again, everything would then point towards Fan Zhendong probably getting through that.
I think so, yeah. But again, you never know these events.
Yeah. Harimoto can just buzz and... look, Fan Zhendong, he was nervous in the previous final, but then he's got experience now, hasn't he? And he's going to be like, I want to get one step further. Yeah, it's going to be tight.
We're going to the other side of the draw then. So, Wang Chuqing, world number 1. Interesting little side note about how fit he is. He obviously lost the recent WTT finals to Fan Zhendong. It was a bit of a weird match. Fan Zhendong went 3-0 up. Wang Chuqing came back 3-all. His Chiquita all of a sudden flying. And then Fan Zhendong won it fairly straightforward. Fan Zhendong in the post-match interview was like, I care, rough translation, but I care less about the victory and more about Wang Chuqing's injury and hope that he's all right for it. But it looks like it's probably just a little bit of a niggle. He hasn't played since. He's obviously been training. It'll be interesting to see how fit he is, if there's any signs. First up, Yang Wang. Absolutely crazy viral shot that you boys recreated.
Just 10 hours later. That's great.
But that'll be a good one to warm up for. Again, Yang Wang gets a lot back off the table, chopping away. That's gonna put some pressure on any injuries you've got or any niggles that you got.
Yeah, it's physically, definitely. I think in terms of style and level, I think generally, if you remember like Xu Xin when he played choppers, it was just an absolute massacre, wasn't it? I think mostly the Chinese are really good against chop because they're one of the countries who have really high level choppers there. So yeah, I can't see if like you say, if he is fully fit, I can't see that being much of a challenge. Physically, it's tough, but in terms of like winning the game, I think it'd be super comfortable.
Wang Chuqing as well, left-hander, probably has the biggest forehand in world table tennis at the moment. That thing's an absolute...
He slings that about.
Down then, the next match down is Cedric Neutink against one Swede, Truls Morgard. I actually got a post that Truls put on Instagram, 8th of July, and it says, me and Anderson David thinking about how many McFlurries we should eat after getting demolished by the world number 1. And it's just him basically looking distraught. And I feel like he's kind of manifested that accidentally into now. Guess who you've got to play again? The world number 1.
That's if he wins against Cedric, obviously. But you would obviously, he's going in favourite for sure.
It's a big one. Next match down then, or potential winner that would play in there, Quadri Aruna. I said about the biggest forehand. He might have the biggest forehand as well.
His forehand's insane.
Yeah, it's mad.
Footwork and...
I think he's actually improved his backhand quite a lot in the last year, to be fair. I think he kind of realised, or maybe he already knew, but to be that kind of Ru Xingmin one-dimensional forehand player is so tough now. You need to be a lot more balanced. For me, I think you can see he's trying to use that backhand more.
Yeah.
And obviously the forehand's still the weapon, but he's a lot more solid and stable on that backhand, I think, now.
Also, he's got a better block. He's got a better hold as well and can punch with it. A bit like a Truls sort of backhand where he can punch through the ball.
Well, I feel like he always had that, no? He always had that punch, but I think now he's actually added in like being able to topspin more with it and put that kick, that more modern style in.
And possibly angle the ball better to set up then the big forehand. It doesn't necessarily need to win him the point, but it positions it to a point where he knows it's going to come back 75% of the table.
And he can send the nuke.
Yeah, exactly. We probably need to reach out to someone because he plays obviously in green, Nigeria. Someone needs to make him the Incredible Hulk.
Oh, that would be cool.
We'll see what we can do on Fiverr.
We'll get the junior editor on that one.
Also in this side of the draw then, Omar Assar, Egyptian, very, very powerful. So he's in that side of the draw alongside another player who I think is kind of in that second bracket, Kirill
Gerasimenko.
Yeah, Gerasimenko, yeah.
So another person in that side of the draw that I think is underrated, Kirill.
He's definitely underrated, yeah. He's a good player.
Then down from that, Thiago Apollonia versus Dan Chu, first match.
Oof. That's a good game because they both have quite an open style. Obviously, their serve return's good, they're top players, but they have quite that open topspin game. So they could be rallies. They could be rallies for fun in that game.
Yeah,
for sure.
Highlights coming out of that. Jang Woo-jin is also in the bottom half of that draw alongside Jonathan Grove.
That's your favourite player in it, Tom, Jang Woo-jin?
Yeah, I love watching him. He's definitely my favourite player. I don't know what it is about him. Just the style of play, the way he moves, I think. And he's very passionate. He's like fired up. He's like a little pocket rocket, really. But yeah, he's had some massive results, to be fair. He beat Ma Long 3-0 and Wang Chu-chin earlier in the year. So again, capable of those big shots.
Yeah, huge threat. You wouldn't want to play him in the Olympics early on.
Yes, great shout. Achanta, also in that side of the draw.
Come on, Kamal.
We've been hanging out with him recently. Great fun.
He had that there's a weird forehand. I don't know if it's against Tom or Beast, where he just takes it super late. The ball like drops and he just kicks it.
No, it's insane.
It's so deceptive. When you look at someone like Kamal, okay, right, you watch him and okay, he's not in that top bracket of players now. He's obviously, had an amazing career, but, he's not now in that top group of players. And you look at him, you think, yeah, he's got a great forehand. But when you actually play it, and you come up against it, and it's like, what's going on here?
Insane
the ball is like
spin.
jumping over your head. Like it's so deceptive. You don't realize, I think, until you actually play it.
Yeah, it's interesting with Kamal. Yeah, like you said, because he's relaxed and he looks laid back. You can kind of learn quite a lot when you play him or see it up close. So like if you did an open up in a normal match in the local league, you get a block back, and the way the ball comes back to you is a certain sort of ball, and it's quite consistent with most players. But when you play against like the top pros, and Achanta is world class here. They have such good feeling. So when you do your open up, they feel the ball back and it like chucks all your spin back and more. Even though they're doing a little movement and you're thinking it's going to be okay, that normal ball, I can get ready. And he just kicks. Do you know what I mean?
And accelerates.
You can give a great shot and he's just kicking it back with interest.
Yeah, you can see how many are after like an open up and he blocks.
Yeah.
You top edge, yeah.
And it's that feeling to hold the ball. Like even when Beast has got a really strong open up and Kamal's just like dinking it through with such good feeling. And it's chucking it all back. I saw a WTT match where Beast plays Stefan Mengel. I was like, this would be interesting. Beast versus Stefan Mengel, WTT. And, it was ridiculous levels of Mengel. He was just holding the ball. And you can see it like side spinning out to Beast wide forehand. And it's just jumping. Do you know what I mean? World-class feeling.
Mengel has that game anyway, doesn't he? Where he like takes 2 steps off.
And just like feels
like
it
a big
through.
spider at the table, isn't he? You just can't get around him.
No, he's good.
You just can't get that spider in that glass and get it out the house.
There's a couple others then in that side of the draw. Alexei LeBron, the other LeBron, the one, again, who's probably going a little bit under the radar. We're thinking about Felix a lot. If Alexei can get on a roll and stay kind of mentally stable, he's definitely in with a shout of going deep in the tournament, right?
He's modelled his service game on the chairman as well. He's got the chairman lollipop serve.
He does, yeah.
He's
Who
fantastic.
pioneered the lollipop serve, Chairman or Alexei LeBron?
Well, chairman was born first. He's older, so obviously you got to give it to chairman.
I think Alexei's seen Chairman on an Instagram post when he's done it against the Ringer in like 2019, pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And then Alex is like, ooh, I'm going to...
Let me turn that into a good version of that serve.
Yeah. We need to get a video of the Chairman and Alexei in the same room, same table.
That'd be cool.
And then
have a lollipop off.
Lollipop off. Both doing the serves and see who can receive it so who gets the most points. I honestly think it would be tight.
Chairman's
lollipop. It should have top spin, but it's got back spin. You know what he's like?
It's like all his shots, really.
Yeah, I think it's got sweat coming off his face as he's doing it. So there's a bit of sweat on the ball. It's got his rubber tire on his racket. It's just all sorts going on.
What I would love to see is Chairman saying, "Hey Alexei, I challenge you to a serve off, but in French, and see if it's anywhere near legible. If Alexei could even understand it."
That'd be very entertaining. Actually, we should give that a try. So that means Hugo must be on that part of the draw, right?
Well, we were about to come to it. So obviously, probably the man outside of the top two in the best form, right? Like massive wins. He beat Fan Zhendong at the WTT Champions, like massive result. Has been winning tournaments left, right, and centre.
Hugo. It makes no sense how he plays. He often pushes deep, drops off, and just swings the ball, and it just goes on like rockets. It's like Pocket Rocket if Pocket Rocket was a world class pro. That style, where Pocket just pushes long and it just rips it.
He gets into the mad topspin rallies all the time.
And he's so fit and he moves so well, and it's the swing, a big swing, and it's always just so clean.
That's the thing. Yeah.
I reckon when he gets older, he's going to have some trouble. He's going to have some trouble with injuries because he plays one hell of a physical game. He's getting down. He's like, I don't know what it's like. It's like he's doing a gym session. He's like he's deadlifting during a match. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's got the sweat on here. He's doing what's going on.
Yeah. He's got the Andy Roddick going, like the t-shirt.
You are right. Like very rarely do we see Hugo like touch short and then just stay at the table and block.
No, I feel like he's like, enough of this nonsense. I'm getting into a loop to loop. But he's going to have some dodgy knees when he gets to 40. I'll tell you.
Do you reckon we might see any double-handed backhands?
I was going to say that one against Harimoto back in the day in the World Tour Grand Finals. It was down the line passing shot, double-handed. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, mental. Andy Murray would have been proud of that one.
Yeah, how'd you do that?
Yeah, he's a big threat for sure, Hugo. I think he's one of those guys. He turns up for big events. He can beat the top players, even including the Chinese. So, yeah, it'd be really interesting to see how he gets on.
Okay, so that's the men's draw. Looking then at the women's singles side, equally as interesting, obviously expected to be Chinese dominated, I think it's fair to say, and then on the rest of the players to kind of step up and take that possible bronze.
Yeah.
Who are you looking at there, I guess, Tom?
Well, we just off camera, we mentioned Hina Hayata is obviously one of the big threats. But just off the top of my head, I was thinking about Bernadette Search, actually, because she's beaten Cheng Meng, I think, a couple of times. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure what side of the draw she's on. I'm guessing she's hoping she's on Cheng Meng's side because she'll fancy her chances against any other European players. And if she can come up against Cheng Meng, she'll feel that pressure of having lost to her previously.
Yeah, I saw an interesting video the other day of a pinboard player, I can't remember who it was, old school player, training with the women's team, obviously to adapt to India with the new pinboard player styles. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, it was. And that was so interesting because India are a threat for sure against the women's right now.
Yeah, I mean, you've earned their respect if they are bringing in specific practice partners. Because I know the video you're talking about where like they're ripping backhands and
just dropping that ball.
Yeah, and it's just like,
and that's what the two women who have beaten the top Chinese players play with this style with the anti and the pinballs. I think it was Srija Kula.
That's the one. Yeah,
and
amazing.
Aika Mukherjee.
Yeah.
One against, they both beat the top Chinese players.
Yeah.
So it could be really interesting, and for teams as well.
And in that environment, again, in the Olympics, where there's so much pressure, you know, if you play in the Olympics, you would not want to play against someone with pinballs or something like that. It's just in the training hall, you're always playing with attackers and stuff. You know, you're trying to prepare for whoever, and then you've got that. That's tough.
That's a really good point because I think when you're down and struggling as well, when you think about your own game, you're like, I just need to attack maybe a little bit tighter, maybe take the ball a little bit earlier. Actually, against pips, possibly that's not the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yet you're under this massive pressure cooker of like maybe you're 3-0 down, you're 6 or something. Maybe you have to go to a bit more of a defensive strategy. Yeah?
I think you need to be really comfortable and be relaxed when you're playing that sort of style. Where like if it's a defender or if it's someone with like pinballs, you can't be too like, right, I'm stressed, I'm going to go for everything like you would against a normal attacking player. You actually kind of do have to take a bit off and like slow it down and be like, right, I need to work my way in here. So yeah, in Olympic pressure, it's not easy.
So obviously, Anna Hersey from the UK, she's got Monica Batra in the early round. I saw that.
Again, we talked about trolls earlier, maybe accidentally manifesting this. So Anna was actually on a video where she got asked how she feels about pimples, and she says like, they're quite difficult to play against.
She said, I don't like it, I think. Right, I don't like playing pimples,
But interestingly, they asked Pitch the same question. I think it was a TTE video. They asked Pitch the same thing. Like, how do you feel about pips? And he's like, ban them.
Good on you, Liam.
There are different ones getting banned, didn't there, over the years, like different sort of frictions.
The frictionless pimples and stuff like that. Dr. Neubauer was the famous one. Obviously, they still have some big rubbers out there now. Luka Mladenovic using the anti-loop.
Weren't you trying anti-loop at one point?
Yeah, just for a bit of fun, yeah. It's good fun. I actually really admire how someone like Luka Mladenovic plays. I think when you actually try it, you realise how skillful it is.
How they're holding the ball.
A lot of people say that, people go to pimples or anti-loop because they're not skillful. And in a lot of cases, in a low level, maybe that is true. But at the high level, like the way Luka Mladenovic plays, is extremely skillful. Or, for example, Srija Kula, that playing with that rubber and twiddling and using both sides is extremely skillful. Arguably more so than using a normal rubber both sides.
Yeah. That's exactly it. I think at the lower level, it's kind of like a reactive change, right? Like, I can't get that serve back.
Yeah.
It's spinning off my rubber. I'm going to put some pimps on it, as opposed to their level, which is then proactive. They're like setting traps for you.
Yeah,
twiddling.
100%. Yeah. At a low level, it's like hiding a weakness. Like you've got a really weak backhand, I'll stick some pimples on. At a high level, they're doing that for a reason. They're doing it because that's unique. It's a different style, and actually it's very tough to play against.
That's like Matthias Falk, right? Short pips on the forehand, just cracks through the ball.
Got to the final of the World Championships with that style.
And now he's not in the singles, right? He's just playing the team for Sweden, I believe.
Truls and Anton, isn't it?
Yeah. Truls and Anton.
Again, that's another tricky pick for the Swedish camp. You got Christian Karlsson as well. It's very
Jon Persson.
Yeah, I think Jon Persson's announced his retirement from international.
I saw that the other day. Yeah,
he's coaching, right?
Yeah, they got a good pool of players, Sweden.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, it was a weird announcement though because he's in the Olympic team, the squad, Jon Persson, and the way he'd sort of written it kind of made it sound like he was retiring immediately.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously he's retiring after these Olympics, but it was sort of threw me out a bit when I read it. I was like, oh, he's retiring. He can't be doing that right now before the Olympics. But it was just slightly oddly worded, I think.
Be interesting to see where T-Mobile goes after his retirement, because he's obviously announced it after this Olympics. Will he play any events at all, or are we just not going to see him anymore?
I thought it was international retirement.
Yeah, so he's still playing league.
Bundesliga, probably, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it? Did you have something funny?
Oh, I did have something for you, actually. That's a good...
Oh, no.
Is it going to drop me in the bus?
No. It's great. I've got a bit of a surprise for you. So
This is exciting.
I'm just loading up my Instagram because I saw it on something on there. So, obviously table tennis creators, we create clips that go on YouTube and all this stuff. And there's a group of probably... maybe like 10 creators around the world that put their stuff. And then there's a group of these pages on Instagram that just steal content, that don't credit, and they post it as their own.
That's painful.
Yeah. Don't do that, guys. That's not on. So again, I think everyone's frustration is the same. And there was a video that you filmed where you're playing against a robot, where there's a robot.
Oh, yeah. Arm robot. Yeah, it's insane.
And the video is titled Table Tennis Pro versus Robot. I opened up the comments because normally I'm like, hey guys, this is TTD content, at least tag us. Basically, there are about 200 comments.
Oh, I know what this is going to be now.
All of this that say, read that out, Dan, for us.
I was like, let me get my glasses.
Oh my God. Oh, it's actually they're just copy and pasting it. That's not a pro.
There's about 200 comments that just say, that's not a pro.
What's crazy is they've got 900 likes on each one as well.
They got more likes than us, who created the content.
Oh, that's painful for the founder.
Yeah. I mean, they got a valid point, though. They really do.
But there's loads of people as well that are like, oh, if the guy played with a bat that didn't have the sensors on, let's see how the robot got on.
Yeah.
That's how it's getting the ball back.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to hit it,
man. You know what's crazy? Can I comment on that saying that's not a pro? Yeah, hilarious. What post is it?
I don't want to drive people to it. I was about to say, go check it out, guys.
Yeah, but it's ripped content.
Yeah, I don't... Yeah.
Do you know
maybe we all go on there.
Yeah, you know Sidemen posted this video, and because there was it Harry, because he lost table tennis from Sidemen, and they said, what would be your one thing you want in your house that you can't have right now? He's like, do you know what? I saw this robot the other day, and I want it in my house. It plays table tennis, and they featured it. So it's pretty cool.
World class.
Yeah, they put a little TTD tag in the bottom right-hand corner thing. But
yeah, see, watch it. I'm just watching this video. It says, follow their page for more. No, don't follow their page for more. Follow the creators, whether that's us or any of the guys. Yeah,
that's it.
They know who they are. That was my little surprise for you.
No, that's hilarious.
It's
every single comment is
that's not a pro.
That's not a pro. And then there's all these comments that are like, why is he just playing it down the middle? I would guess, guys, because he's trying to have a rally. It's not that deep.
Yeah. It is. What the most crazy thing about that robot was when I was doing kicker serves and trying to disguise my serve, the thing's receiving it. Because actually doesn't care about my arm. It's looking at the spin on the ball, right? So it would just do whatever the spin is. It's freaking brilliant.
What if you hid your serves though?
That's in.
Yeah, the robot will call him up.
Yeah.
Fault.
Even if you hide it, the ball's going to come over. The sensor's going to go, well, that's topspin.
The robot's probably quick enough to read it even when it's hidden, whereas a human being's like, oh, it's hidden, I've got last minute, I can't read it. The robot's like, yep, that matter, doesn't affect me, I'm still reading it in 0.01 of a second.
That was 5 years ago, right? Also, every time that robot plays, it gets better, yeah? So it'll actually be better now. Because let's say it misses, let's say you do a kick a serve to it and it puts it in the air. It goes, oh, that spin was X amount. Okay, next time we'll try that angle. Yeah, so next time that ball comes to it,
machine learning.
It will know what angle to use because of the previous one it missed.
It'll make you look even less of a pro.
Yeah, it's so nuts.
Men's singles, then predictions. Where are you going? Who do you think is going to win it?
Am I starting?
You're gone.
Oh, I've been put under the spotlight.
None of us can use the same as well, yeah? It's all got to be different.
No, I want to go first then.
Well, we can't have the same prediction.
Oh, of
course we can.
It's just what we think, isn't it?
Yeah, okay, who do you think is going to win?
I think, I'm going to go boring and say Fan Zhendong. I can't see past him. It's a bit boring, but there you go. Fan?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good pick, Tom.
It's the safe pick, isn't it?
I'm just going to say Felix because in the parallel universe it happens somewhere. So maybe in this one it does.
Imagine if it's
Felix.
I'm going to say Fan Zhendong. I think based off, I think it's going to be a him versus Wang Chuqin final. I think watching that WTT final, appreciate Wang Chuqin might have been injured, but tactically Fan Zhendong tied him up. So I think Fan Zhendong is going to win it. Oh, shout out, actually. I'm also going to the men's semi-finals.
It's big.
That's going to be class.
I said to my wife, I was like, can we get some Olympic tickets? She was like, yeah, cool.
Well, we're going to see the 100-meter final? No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
We're going to watch Rafael Nadal.
And she was like, how much is it? And I quoted the bottom price. I don't know, it's like €80, right? I booked like the VIP tier 1. So you're going to see the men's team semi-finals, which might be like Germany, China, and then me in the front row.
Yes. Oh, it's going to be great. All right. Okay. What about women's predictions then? All right. You go. Someone else can go first on this one.
Yeah, I think Chen Meng. She's won the previous one, got the experience there in that environment. Similar to how Ma Long had it last time when he played Fan Zhendong. I think there's an experience to get over the line, and there's a lot of pressure with the Olympics. I think Chen Meng.
Joe?
I am going to throw a curveball out there and say Hina Hiata.
Ooh.
She's coming out big.
I like it.
That would be insane.
That would be nuts.
That
What
would
do
be
you
nuts. I think Sun Ying Sha's got it. I think they're pretty even anyway, Chang Meng and Sun Ying Sha, but she's won a couple times in like the final of WTA events this year. She's a bit younger. I think it's her time.
Nice.
Fair. And then teams events, we're probably all going to say China, right?
Yeah, boring.
Yeah.
Too strong.
China.
Yeah, strength and depth.
No, the strength and depth is the issue.
It'd have to be a big... Yeah, you basically have to have 3 upsets. You have to have 3 upsets to win.
Then again, no, let's say Felix was buzzing for France, played China.
But it's still an upset. Still an
You still need
upset.
Alexa. Yeah, it's almost...
That's a great shout about
Very
France because France in the teams have got Simon Gauzy.
Yeah.
And Simon Gauzy at a home crowd, it's packed. He already pulls off some of the most ridiculous shots you've ever seen. I reckon, again, prediction, he's going to do something viral. He's going to do something nuts.
100%.
I wouldn't put it past him for sure. Yeah, but yeah, I think we're all agreed it'll be a surprise if China didn't win both men's and women's team events.
Yeah, we'll have to see our predictions at the end, guys, on the next cast.
Absolutely. Right, we'll wrap up episode 1 of the TTD cast. Hit subscribe. It's going to be on YouTube and everywhere else that you get your podcasts. Anything left to say, boys?
I think that's it. We'll just see you in episode 2.
See you in the comments.